The Coast to Coast Entertainment Network would like to thank their proud sponsors for their support of C2C programming. Beside Me Bracelets, Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, Reaper Apparel Company, and Good Day Embroidery. The Elite Draft League would like to thank the following premier sponsors for their support of the inaugural 2024 EDL season: Craft Coast Brewery and Taco Stand, Play It Again Sports Scripps Mira Mesa, The Answer's Yes, and Roller Dad News. A beautiful Sunday in the afternoon to recap a very exciting day of the first game day and first week of the inaugural season for the 2024 San Diego Elite Draft League. Welcome back in, folks, to Season 1 and Episode number 2 of the Puck and Roll podcast, covering all things San Diego Elite Draft League alongside Gabe John, yours truly, Callan and McClurg, joining you folks here this afternoon on this Sunday afternoon, June 23rd, 2024, after a very amazing first night of gameplay for the EDL here in San Diego. Gabe, good afternoon, bud. Good to see you, man. After a very wildly amazing electric evening on Saturday, man. Good to see you. How's it going today?
It's good. You've already noted I've got my shirt. It's casual Sunday, but yeah, last night was electric, and it was great to see not only the boys buzzing, but also there were a decent amount of fans as well. I haven't seen the Kit Carson bleachers as full for a league play. Of course, tournament's a little bit different, but yeah, there were a lot of significant others, family members, parents out supporting. So it was a fun atmosphere, and looking forward to see how we just keep this momentum rolling.
Yeah, momentum for sure after day one. We will hope to have some of the guys in the chat box tonight. We do, folks, can tell you we have some highlights from game one between the Mission Bay Ospreys and Del Mar Bandits. We have a couple of interviews that Gabe flagged down our players of the game from both game one and game two with Colton Grover, who had the first ever hat trick in league history and had the first ever goal in league history on Saturday in our first game, and also Reed Kinsey, who had a game-tying goal and game-winning goal within like a 10-second span of a wild game to end the night on Saturday. We'll have the scores, some highlights, interviews, and some full-blown reaction to game day one, I should say, of league play on Saturday. We do, folks, invite your input again, questions, comments, or concerns in our live chat box. If you are watching us live on the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network on Facebook, on YouTube, or on my personal YouTube channel, again, drop us a comment, whether it's good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. We'll get to those as our program does prolong here today. But I guess, Gabe, before we really get to the nitty-gritty of game one and game two, man, so much anticipation around Saturday. You know, all the buildup from evaluation skates to the draft to, you know, the names being picked and everything that went into it. Gabe, maybe what was the day like, though, for you? Like waking up, you know, I don't want to go too far in depth, but certainly I think in a way everyone had maybe some amount of nerves going into this first day of like, you know, is everything going to go off okay? How will the gameplay be? And I think, though, Gabe, I think we checked all those boxes once we got to Kit Carson on Saturday and Will after the evening concluded on Saturday night.
Absolutely. I mean, nerves bubble up whenever something is important to you. So that's natural. I would say that, yeah, I felt a little bit of nerves around just wanting everything to go smooth and wanting the games themselves to play out competitively, which for the most part, they both did. So that was great. Even seeing both teams in the second game, each taking their respective timeouts, was somewhat invigorating for us, directors on the sidelines who, just got a little amped up with how competitive and down to the wire that game got. So yeah, there were definitely some nerves going in because it is important to us. Speaking personally, and I think it's, obviously you're here, Callan, as well. So it's important for you and Josh, Commissioner Fontaine. So there are some nerves just because of how important it is and, the responsibility we take to make sure we're executing well for the boys. But it did go well. And, the more the fans and the players got into it, the better we, eased into the rhythm. And I think that we're going to continue easing in and gelling things out as we get better and more polished and continue to get this strong support that we did receive from the players and everyone else on this opening night.
Yeah, opening night, of course, with any sport, any season, whether it's, year 1, year 10, year 50, year 75, those nerves come around. Like, it's the anticipation, the buildup. And I think more than anything else, when it's the inaugural year, you're building towards this, crescendo of the opening night. And I think I was a little bit more surprised, though, Gabe, not involving the league, though, but with how the weather has been here in San Diego and even in Esco yesterday. Just very weird going to Kit Carson and not seeing a lot of activity. We were there Thursday and the skate park was going a mile a minute. The soccer fields were also going a mile a minute. And I also think, though, Gabe, that more than anything else, I agree with you, man, because you sent me this picture before we went on the air today about the stands kind of being, like you were saying, though, more people came to opening night of the EDL probably than any other organized, rec league in the facility, pickup games. And I think that right there to me was probably like the first sign that I'm like, I think the EDL is going to be just fine after seeing the turnout we had. Family, friends, local players as well. Some of the kids who maybe were playing after we concluded on the Western rink or came on after we had played, just kind of wheel around for a bit because of the sun going down and the weather finally cooling off. Gabe, how cool is this after just day one, seeing these stands being this full after just the first 2 games of the season?
It was super rewarding, really. It's a fun process doing this because we love the sport, and we're happy to be here to fill in the content gaps and everything. But then when you really realize that there is a stoked community behind this, it makes it all the better, not only for the people playing, but those who just love watching their loved ones or watching some of their favorite local players who are a little bit older, get their own inspiration from it as well. So when we were able to see the stands and see that there were younger players that by the way, you have to be 18 to play in the Elite Draft League. So some of those guys might look dismayed there because they're wishing they could be out there with the boys, but they'll get their time. Not quite 18 yet. They're on the front row. But from seeing the younger players who are looking up to the older guys out there, to seeing the parents and significant others, wives, family members out there to support, was really a humbling moment, because even though our community isn't huge by any means, I think we probably got a number of people watching now, but I guess we don't need to necessarily measure the strength of our community based on the size, but rather based on the level of commitment. And I'll say that from the players to the fans that showed up, there was top-notch commitment, top to bottom, and couldn't be more stoked about the starting.
Gabe, I recall when we talked on Friday, as I'll pull the picture off screen though, but you just led me down a perfect rabbit hole and segue about, the age cutoff is 18 to play in the EDL, and seeing those kids though in the first row who maybe are 16, maybe 17, like we were talking about this when we talked about the Temecula Vineyard Vipers, who are one of the teams in our league, and about their namesake. And like I said on Friday, hey, Temecula's not really part of San Diego County. But you made the great point, though, in your story. And Josh even said it, though, too, as well, is that Temecula, though, has this very great youth program at their rink up in Temecula. And it's about growing the game and getting the kids involved, though, where you have something to shoot for. And now I think, though, that the image, though, that we had just put up on screen, though, about seeing those kids, who have been probably going there every day over the summer now with school's out, but this is giving them some incentive, to work harder, maybe, work harder, but also they now have something at their disposal locally that they can now be a part of when they turn 18.
Absolutely. And tying it all together from Temecula to the younger boys watching, it's really this movement that we're doing here, with the Elite Draft League headquarters, really just building this community that we all love, and doing it through a shared love of the game. And that's something that we can all get behind, and just rip and rolling.
Ripping and rolling as we now roll into a couple of game recaps. Finally, we have some content to finally get to on Puck and Roll Season 1, Episode 2. We'll get to the quick recap of the games, I should say. We will roll some highlights here in a moment, but let's first, Gabe, get to Game 1, the game that kicked it off on Saturday night. The Del Mar Bandits over the Mission Bay Ospreys 7-3. Colton Grover, remember that name, folks. First goal in league history, a hat trick and an assist for a 4-goal game. The legend himself, Chuck Baldwin, 2 goals, 2 assists, and Jake Pribble, 1 goal and 2 assists for Del Mar in the winning effort. George Godinez, a pair of apples for Mission Bay. Noe Santos, team captain, also had an assist, but also, sadly, is remembered for the first ever penalty in league history with his 2 PIMs, while Nate Robert and Jason Efforts both also scored for Mission Bay. And more so, Gabe, we were kind of billing this, though, for the battle of Chuck Baldwin, fresh off of a European roller hockey sweep of titles against hockey sensei himself, Eitan Chavira. But Eitan had some personal family problems come up on Saturday and was unable to make it down in time for the game, which was a little bit, sadly, kind of a bit of a letdown. But again, he'll be around, though, more than likely as more time goes on. But certainly, though, Gabe, first game is out of the way, but certainly Colton Grover, man, already after one game, a special player with 4 points on the season.
Yeah, those 3 for the Bandits were absolutely buzzing. And like you said, Callan, it was unfortunate that Ethan wasn't able to show up for this game opener. It's the Ospreys, while they didn't have quite the firepower to match that top line there with Grover, Baldwin, and Pribble, didn't lose for lack of effort. And that's what you love to see. You hate to see players give up or hang their head or just drag their ass and whatnot. But those guys were buzzing as well. Noe was all over the floor. Noe Santos was all over the floor, speeding up and down. And they took their opportunities. And while they didn't have the tic-tac-toe plays to, get 7 goals needed to win this game, they definitely got more familiar with each other throughout the game and, picked their moments to, take advantage. But that top line for the Bandits was definitely in sync, and they were wheeling, as you'll be able to see in some of these highlight clips here.
Yeah, certainly Del Mar really got going. Now, this was actually kind of a bit of a battle after the first period. It was 4-2 Del Mar. It was punch, counter punch early as both teams kind of felt each other out, though. But I think, though, as you were saying, though, Gabe, Eton's absence was one thing, but also Grover and then Baldwin and Pribble, though, man. I mean, that line was just, electric from the word go on Saturdays. We'll see the highlights here in just about a minute or so here. Again, Colton Grover, 3 goals and an assist. Chuck Baldwin, 2 goals, 2 assists. And Jake Pribble, who came within, I think, 1 deflection of a miraculous, 3-quarter rink goal that would have been tipped in front. But the shot had just gone wide, I believe. May have rang the iron on the post. But certainly, though, Gabe, you talked about Jake Pribble, though, at length, though, in our season preview on Friday. And certainly, I saw it, though, like you said, a two-way guy who's not afraid to get into shooting lanes, but also such a smooth operator, though, when he's got the puck, though, on his stick coming down the other half of the rink.
Yeah, he's elusive for how tall and long he is. He's gotten a very elusive style to him, so it's difficult to corral him. And then he's also got some ninja tactics as well, because even when you do seem to corral him, he somehow ninjas his way out of tight situations. So he's a slippery one, no doubt. And getting in front of lanes and shooting lanes is, I think, really how he builds his momentum. So when he's blocking shots, he's likely, gelling and getting into the rhythm where he's going to start to be effective on the offensive side of things as well. So it really starts from that.
Jake also had a very just insane puck protection play along the near boards right in front of the penalty box. He literally went halfway, it felt like halfway down the rink with his just backwards, kind of cruising along with his back turn. And I think he, kept 2 defenders or 2 offensive attacking players away from the puck, halfway down the rink. It was just really incredible watching him play. So with that, let's get to some highlights of the Del Mar goals, or actually the Mission Bay goals first from Saturday. Hold for bumper, maybe. Gotta love a goalie who was willing just to wear one for the team right there at the very end, though. But certainly, Mission Bay. It did look like, though, Gabe, in the highlight footage. By the way, shout out to our commissioner Josh Fontaine, who had been working very feverishly to get those highlight reels put out for us for tonight's program. Big ups to Commissioner Fontaine for doing so. But it just looked like, though, Gabe, whenever Mission Bay was scoring, man, they were literally greasy goal areas, like literally on the doorstep of the crease. And then that last save, though, that was made that really kept the game from probably getting worse out of control score-wise.
Yeah, that last brief clip was Baldwin going down between the legs, cutting to the front. Didn't quite score that, but that was a last Bandits highlight just for the folks watching. But yeah, the goals that you saw from the Ospreys, you can see, well, they were getting to strong areas. That first goal, though, really strong move just to be moving, left to right and then shooting across the body there. So that's a tough save for a goalie to make when a player is moving across the rink and then they shoot back against the grain. So nice goal by Nathan there to get that tally. And then that's last one that we saw, Noe Santos over to Jason Efforts. Nice, east to west pass and a good pick by Efforts there to get that goal. So once they start to move, east to west and get that lateral movement in, you can see that they can put the puck in the net. So looking forward to future games where they get a little bit more familiar with each other and keep that east to west moving up. And if they do keep that east to west moving up with the speed that they already have as a group, they're going to get more goals and they'll be a threat out there. And then if Eton comes and gives them additional firepower, that'll surely be an elite team.
That is the wild card for Mission Bay, is whenever Eton does make it, hopefully next Saturday, because then you add him in there. You have the Dangles and stuff, but then you have, just his, veteran leadership being a part of this team going forward for the next several weeks of the season.
Yeah, we'll never know what would have happened. So maybe he would have been able to counterbalance the firepower from that top Bandits line, but they were looking pretty good. So I guess we'll never know. But Eton will definitely be an addition for that Ospreys squad whenever he does show up.
The great what if. Let's now move over, Gabe, to the Del Mar highlights from Saturday's first game. I'm telling you, man, I really kind of hate to sound like that guy, but I kind of feel like, though, one of those tic-tac-toe goals with those three out there, you probably could see him from a mile away coming, and I think it was a matter of time. But Del Mar, of course, though, Gabe, they got off on the good foot, and they were rolling early from the get-go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those couple of them, not one of them was a terrific save on that.
I think one of them hit the crossbar, looked like, too, on that second one. That Pribble had a great look, though, but I think Goalie got a piece and got enough to knock it off the crossbar and wide.
Yeah, sure it is. That was a great save. But yes, those odd man opportunities, especially that 3-on-1, just a beautiful goal. Forced the defenseman to go down, so he was out of the play, and moving the puck so that's you're forcing the goalie to go from direct on to a full slide to the post. It's tough and roller with all that friction with the surface. So moving laterally is a tough for goalies. So yeah, it was tic tac toe. Those guys were wheeling, and you can see when you're buzzing like that, sometimes you get to score with just a wide open net. So they took advantage of some gaping nets, and no fault to the defenseman and goalie in those situations. They just outplayed and outmanned in those odd man situations.
Yeah, it's certainly no fault of the goaltender, and I would even think no fault as well either for either team or anyone here. Again, your actual first game, trying to get all this, get the chemistry, line pairings right, defensive pairings right, and certainly. But again, though, like we were saying, though, when you have Pribble and Baldwin, and again, Baldwin maybe a one-off here, just filling in, at least for week one, though, but certainly him maybe being a wild card, though, too, if someone else needs another guy to at least fill the void. But again, in game one, though, folks, first game of the EDL inaugural season. The Del Mar Bandits over the Mission Bay Ospreys 7-3. Again, Colton Grover. We'll hear from Colton after the first commercial break as Gabe caught up with him following their 7-3 victory over the Mission Bay Ospreys. Let's now, Gabe, switch over to the last game of the evening. Wow, this game was everything and then some in a wild finish. North County Surfers edging the Temecula Vineyard Vipers, who made a all-out comeback. They were down at one point, 4-1, came all the way back, tied the game, took the lead. But of all people, it's Reed Kinsey, a longtime goaltender turned skater for the EDL, who ties the game back up and wins the game at the 1:55 mark of the second period of play. North County wins a electrifying game, 6-5 over Temecula again. Reed, 2 goals and an assist, the game-tying and game-winning goal. His brother Ray had a goal and assist, and team captain A.J. Wright with a goal and an assist as well for North County in this, again, epic game to end the first night of EDL play. For Temecula, Wes Langlow had 2 goals on the night, and Jack Allen had a goal and an assist, while Anthony Mata, Ryland Farwell, who tied the game for Temecula, and Chad Lewis each had a point. And again, the Vipers were down at 1 point, 4-1, came all the way back, tied the game, took the lead with 3:34 left, and then literally 10 seconds later, Reed Kinsey tied the game at 5, and then ultimately gave the Surfers the victory 6-5 with $1:55 left in the final frame. And certainly, Gabe, we were all wondering, was this going to be the first game to go to overtime? Because we were at a 5-4 game. It went to 5-5. We had the timeout get called, and literally North County went back ahead 6-5. Temecula kind of, though, I think got a little bit, not steady, but they got a little bit trapped, though, I think, by having North County keeping the puck in their half of the rink, though, and weren't able to pull the goalie for that potential fifth skater to join the play. But certainly, Gabe, if you wanted a wire, down to the wire finish, these two teams delivered in a huge way on Saturday night to round out day one.
Sure did. I mean, so down to the wire that both teams ended up taking their minute timeouts late in the game. So they both had needed the opportunity to take a quick refresh and slow down the pace so that they could regroup and get better traction on the game. So it was very exciting. It didn't start off that way, though. Honestly, the Surfers were definitely being patient with the puck, and to be fair, the Surfers definitely had a little bit more familiarity as players. As we know, they've got 2 sets of brothers, which should add instant chemistry right off the bat, and a number of players who are familiar with one another. So they did have a little bit more of a control game, crisper passes and things like that. And for a moment, it looked, early in the game like, the Vipers weren't going to have much bite to their game. They were having a hard time building cohesion. Some passing was off. But once there was that 4-1, goal spread, the Surfers did let off a little bit, and that gave some opportunity for the Vipers snipers to really start and take action. And man, did they ever? They climbed back. They took some great shots, had some great opportunities, and they ended up with the lead at one point. So kudos to them to building momentum and not hanging their hats too early. Is who would have never know what could happen if you give up on the play, but they didn't, and they took advantage of their shooters and their shooter shot, and had a brief lead for a moment before the tables once again turned back into the Surfers' favor after some timeouts.
Yeah, and literally the last 412, looking back at my game sheet, was just loony. So at the 412 mark, it became a 4-3 game for North County, with Wes Langlow having his second goal of the game. Literally 8 seconds later at 4:03 is when they tie the game at 4. Then at the 3:34 mark is when they take the lead. But as I said, though, Gabe, 10 seconds later, Reed Kinsey ties the game. And then we're tied at 5 all the way till the last 1:55. And I think we're all in the timekeeper box wondering aloud about overtime, because we were, Temecula dug a pretty big hole, though, but worked their way out of that deficit, though. And I think, though, major kudos, though, I think, Gabe, to Temecula, as you said, though, not shelling it in, not nailing in, not nailing up or folding up the tents, though, man. Getting down 3-0 after one, no big deal. But they came out, though, man, and just I think a lot of praise goes to Temecula's way for, as you alluded to, man, not saying, no moss after falling behind, though. And again, they had the lead at one point. Just too bad that one of those brothers, though, had to come and ruin the fun for Temecula at the very end.
Yeah. Speaking of those brothers, looking forward to future episodes where maybe we can bring the recklessness out of Ray, but because he was such a beauty, it was such a beauty yesterday with all of his pizzazz on and off the rink. Referring to him today as a roller daddy Ray. So hopefully he hears that live, and if not, hears it in the recording. But yeah, they didn't hang their hats. They kept on going. And one of the names that's actually not on this screen here is Logan Weiss, who's also a nice young stud, and he can put the puck in the net, and he got one of their goals as well. So between Mata and Farewell and Lewis, Weiss, Jack Allen, Langlow, all of them can put the puck in the net. And once they get their rhythm with some of their passing be more on time, which obviously comes with just some repetitions on the rink together, they will be able to, move the puck a little bit more efficiently. And once they can create more space for their shooters, they'll also continue to be a threat.
I also, Gabe, want to applaud both goaltenders in this game. They kept this game very, very close, despite maybe the 3-0 scoreline or the 4-2 scoreline at one point. But, man, props and hats off to both goalies for Temecula and North County, man, for really keeping their teams in this game all the way to the very end.
Yeah, the goalies are on their toes. Absolutely. I mean, 5-6 game, that sixth goal, we'll hear in the interview, but with Reed playing some mind games on the goalie. But yeah, the goalies definitely, held their own for sure. And this could have been easily a 10-11 game. Had it not been for some of the standout stops.
Yeah, standout stops for sure. And again, just a very great ending to week one again, with North County edging Temecula 6-5. As mentioned, Reed Kinsey, who we'll hear from after our first commercial break, alongside Colton Grover, our two players of the game, who caught up with Gabe following their respective games. Pre-recorded interviews coming your way in about a minute or so here on episode 2 of Puck and Roll here on C2C. Again, Callan and McClurg alongside Gabe John. I guess, Gabe, before we go to commercial break, man, any other thoughts, man, you want to kind of pass along from what was, again, just a very, just amazing night for the entire league, and for, as we kind of said, though, man, it was such a great turnout of people who came out. A lot of praise, a lot of great stuff from the boys about our first pod episode on Friday, and they were all looking forward to today as well. So already, Gabe, I think so far, boom, check, boom, check, boom, check.
Yeah, with this momentum, we'll definitely be able to grow the community, but just re-highlighting that sentiment. It's not necessarily about the size, but about the commitment, and this group's got it. So looking forward to just building on that, keeping it rolling, and continue with that same level of commitment, but also growing the audience and keeping that attendance hot and active. So yeah, just love the momentum and love the commitment.
We'll step aside, folks. On the other side, we'll have a pair of interviews coming your way. Colton Grover, Reed Kinsey, our players of the game from our first 2 games of the EDL season. That and more is next after this quick timeout. You're watching and listening to Puck and Roll, Season 1, Episode 2, right here on C2C. We're back in 45 seconds, so please don't go away. The Elite Draft League would like to thank the following sponsors for their support of the inaugural 2024 EDL season. The Coast to Coast Entertainment Network, Hockey Night Insider, R&R Productions, and Wild Dog Marketing. And we're back here, folks, after our first time out of the evening. Callan McClurg and Gabe John back with you here as we roll along on Puck and Roll Season 1, Episode 2, recapping the first 2 games of EDL history, with the Del Mar Bandits defeating the Mission Bay Ospreys 7-3, while the North County Surfers edged the Temecula Vineyard Vipers in a thrilling finish 6-5 over the course of the Saturday. A quick shout-out to North County goalie. Looks like Bryce is in the chat box saying a good overview. And again, as we said, though, Gabe, Bryce, again, really kept North County in this game when the going did get a little bit weary there at the very end of Game 2 last night.
Yeah, once they started ripping the puck, they were just ripping from all over. So I know Wes would have liked to have gotten a couple more of those to bolster that lead when they had it. But yeah, shout out to you, Bryce, and keeping the puck out of the net when was most important,
and more importantly, snagging a pair of points for the Forbes standings as we finish the week 1 of the season. With that, folks, we'll get to a couple of player interviews. We'll first start off shop after our first game. Gabe himself caught up with the man Colton Grover, who had the first ever goal in league history and had a hat trick on top of all of that as his Del Mar Bandits took down the Ospreys of Mission Bay 7-3. Here is Gabe's pre-recorded interview with Colton Grover following yesterday's game.
So Colton, big inaugural game, 7-3 win. How'd you feel out there?
Felt good, local boys finally have a good league down here to play with the local guys,
You got 3 goals, okay? Sounded like you were building some chemistry with Baldwin as well as Pribble out there. How would the flow feel with those 2?
It felt good. I've been playing with Chuck since I was knee high, so down in Skate San Diego. So me and the Baldwins, all the Baldwins have a pretty long background coming up, so they kind of coached me into it. So all props to them.
Cool. Baldwin had a couple nice moves out there besides some of your goals, but were you expecting him to tally a few more?
A lot more. He hasn't been playing. I guess he's borrowing the gear he's wearing right now, so pretty crazy that he can still do that with borrowed gear. So it's nice to finally have him back out here for the summer.
Cool. Committed. Nice.
Committed.
Do you think we can expect 3 goals from you every week, or how are you feeling going into next week?
I don't know. It's a big ask. I'm going to call it beginner's luck for now.
Beginner's luck? Well, the goals look good, okay?
Thank you.
Well, best of luck in the next game.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I love the hell yeah at the very end. But certainly, though, Gabe, and I don't think that we mean to keep harping on this, though, but hearing it firsthand, though, from Colton Grover about how much it means to him to have a league like the EDL in San Diego, and then his relationship with Chuck and the Baldwin brothers, since, they were knee high, basically. I think it just means that much more to these guys who are, born and raised San Diegans. They made San Diego their home. They played the sport for their whole life, and now they have a chance now to do this sort of stuff, rekindle old friendships, make new friendships, but also just hearing that, though, man, I think really makes me more proud to be a part of the EDL, though, about giving these guys the platform, not just on this podcast, but now every Saturday when they're playing, to actually have this chance now to showcase their skills in this, amazing city that is San Diego.
Absolutely. I mean, Colton and the rest of the boys have, developed skills that are worth watching, and it's about time that, we have a platform so that they can feel proud of sharing their skills, and just feeling good about the sport that they, love and continue to enjoy to play. So, we're doing it for the boys and feeling good. But going to Colton's interview there, it was really cool. I was talking about the beginning of the show when you talked about pregame, jitters and everything. Colton was dialed in, man. Colton was dialed in. Talking with him before the game, he was no nonsense. But love to see in the post game interview how excited and happy he was, and you could hear from the hell yeahs afterward, where he was just he was stoked on the win. He played great. His shots were going in. And he can be a little bit humble at times too. He doesn't maybe consider himself to be a goal scorer or play a goal scorer's role all the times on all the teams that he plays with. But man, he's got a ripper, man, and he obviously found the back of the net in this opening game. So really cool to see him find his stride, both offensively, but also just his stride emotionally there too, where he really embraced the win and the excitement of the game.
Yeah, the excitement for sure, is definitely there. And I think just, the post-interview hell yeahs, though, kind of got me a little bit more fired up over here in studio as well, is again, just like, the smiles I think that the guys even had on their faces, though, too, about being a part of this as well. But again, Colton Grover, hats off to you, literally and figuratively, first ever goal, first ever hat trick in EDL history. So so Gabe, when you're working on the record book over the winter, you'll have to incorporate in that, like, first ever goal, Colton Grover, Delmar Bandits, first ever hat trick, Colton Grover, Delmar Bandits. But again, a 4-point game for Colton in the first ever game for Delmar, as they again defeated Mission Bay 7-3 in the first ever of the inaugural game of the EDL season. With that, Gabe also caught up with one more player of the game as well. That would be Reed Kinsey, who again is a converted skater, or a turned skater. And again, Reed, as we know, though, Gabe had the game-tying goal and the game-winning goal within a very brief minute or 3-minute stretch of the imagination. Gabe also caught up with Reed as well, post-game as well. We have to play this off Google Drive because the file size is a little too big, sadly. Again, we're working out all these problems and all these issues, though, as time goes on. With that, here is Gabe, though, with Reed Kinsey after North County edged out Temecula 6-5 on Saturday evening.
Reed, excellent game, man.
Thank you.
Okay. How do you feel after that? Two goals and an assist for you. Okay. How do you lay it out for us?
I kind of went out there just to feel out, everything. I haven't been on the roller rink in too long, so it was just more of a get the feet back underneath me and then kind of feel my team out as well. You're up quick, and then we kind of slowed down, got a little bit cocky, and kind of put on the brake just a little bit, and then that's when people get in trouble. And thankfully, we got 2 last ones that were worth it.
Worth it, absolutely. Yeah, they did come back into flurry. Got a couple of good snipes in there to make it a little bit interesting. But were you surprised that you were left so alone for that game-winning goal?
Yeah, 100%. I just sat there and I saw one missed pass. I'm like, oh, I hope it presents itself again. And as it came down, I just I knew I had time, so I had 3 seconds with the puck just to outweight the goalie and kind of do some mind tricks on him.
So you were playing the goalie mind trick?
Oh yeah, 100%. So I play goalie and ice, and then coach goalies. So I try and flip it around on the goaltenders and kind of get in their heads before they get in my head.
Beauty. So did you notice the goalie made the first move and you just picked your spot?
He was leaning towards his left foot, so I was going for the right foot.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Great insight there.
Little things.
So how was it playing with your brother Ray out there?
It's good. It's good. I'm working on him getting better, and he's working on, just being a better overall player and controlling himself. And it's fun to be able to play with him, watch him, and be able to be at the same level with him. So that's cool.
Very nice. We talked a little bit before the game. Do you think that he brought the fire and you brought the ice a little bit?
Yeah. You always got to have that. Ray comes out always hot. Our motto is to press hard right from the get-go. If you let up, you're weak in our eyes. You got to keep going no matter what and never give up. So if there's anything giving up, you better be hurt or you can't skate. So
love the motto. Yeah, I've heard that from you. Yeah, pedal to the metal the whole game. That's
what
people say.
Learn from Pops back there. So he taught good instincts into us. So it's good.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay. Yeah. Well, good luck with the rest of your games.
Thank you.
And good performance today.
Awesome. Appreciate you.
You too.
You want to talk about Gabe, a guy locked in. After this game ended and we began kind of, breaking down all of our equipment, I walked through the player locker room area, and obviously, Reed, having known him and Ray for so long, Reed said, I really wish we didn't let this lead go away. Just still being in that mindset of we let this lead slip away from us, being up 3-0 after 1, building that 4-2 lead and letting the opponent back into the game, giving that other side some confidence. That right there almost really sold me about how serious, not just we, but these guys are taking this league, though. And I love that mentality of like, why do we let up? Why do we let these guys back into the game with how we played? And I think, though, he hit the nail on the head, though, about, we got a little cocky, a little conceited about where the scoreline was. And, it doesn't matter what league you're playing in, that opposition can certainly exploit that and take advantage of it.
Yeah, and exploit they did, and that's why it became such a close game. But sounds like the Kinsey Pops has instilled strong level of compete in those boys. And if for those following didn't make the connection, that's older brother Reed Kinsey that we just saw, older brother to Roller Daddy Ray, who does come out hot and heavy. But yeah, those boys will skate pretty fearlessly the entire game. So there's definitely been a strong level of compete instilled in those two, and you love to see that.
Again, I love seeing the competitive fire that these guys have brought to the table. We talked about that at length, though, on Friday about, no one here is half-assing this league. Like, no one has showed up late or, came in, overly arrogant or conceited like, they're the best thing since sliced bread, though. That's not been the case. Everyone has brought their lunch pail to work, and they've come to do a job, over the course of the entire time that we have begun, though. But major thanks, by the way, to both Colton Grover of the Del Mar Bandits and Reed Kinsey for taking some time to join Gabe for a couple of pre-recorded post-game interviews. We'll have more of those going on as the year does prolong as well. We're going to try to get someone like live to join us eventually, but right now we're just trying to work this out where it's easy for Gabe to take care of after games are over. We don't have to interfere on someone's schedule and, take time out of their days especially on a Sunday before everyone goes back to work on Monday and things like that. So look for a lot of pre-recorded content as well. And I guess, Gabe, before we do, in fact, go to break, man, you were busy as well with some social content yesterday. What right now can fans view right now on the Elite Draft League San Diego IG account, man? I think you were making your rounds with a couple of some interesting, this or that questions, I think, that we're also going to be sharing with some content as the year also goes on as well via social.
Yeah, we're looking forward to the whole process here. It's fun for us, just like we hope it's fun for the players. And so yeah, we want to do our best to not only make this a fun competitive experience, but also to build that community feel. So you'll be seeing me at the rink going through questions, not to get a better feel for the players, but also get some insights into the game of roller hockey for the audience. So if you want to catch all of that, that content, definitely check out the Instagram Elite Draft League SD. I think that's the handle, right? That's the handle right there,
right below us on screen. Yes.
Look at that. Yeah, Elite Draft League SD. We'll be dropping that content. There's already a nice reel there, so you can see whose hydration plan you like best. So you got a fun minute and a half of getting answers from the boys before their games on what's their pregame beverage of choice. And I think it turned out nice and snappy. You can see the difference between the players, a nice spectrum. And it shows that, the boys love the game, love to compete, and also love the lot. So some great stuff, a great blend of characters. And we'll be looking forward to capturing all that and providing you all with hockey insights as well as personality quirks and things like that throughout the league.
Oh, yeah. Great guys on the ice, even better people off the rink. I think we kind of saw this a little bit before we go to break, Gabe, after both games ended. We were in the parking lot at Kit Carson, just having a good old time, guys introducing themselves to each other so we can start putting, names to faces and stuff like that. And, I think that is something, though, that has made me love the hockey community, is that everyone is friends off the ice or off the rink of play. Yeah, you go out there and battle for, 30 minutes of gameplay or 60 minutes, though. But at the end of the day, though, it's about having fun, making connections, being social, and having a good time. And certainly check out what the guys had to say for their pregame hydration. I'm more of a Red Bull water or Gatorade guy before I get on the mic and start flapping my gums for the whole game. So definitely that's where I stand, at least with my pregame hydration. One last break, folks. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up and get you ready for our next show on Friday, and also get to the Week 2 schedule coming up as well here in just a moment. This is Puck and Roll, Season 1, Episode 2. Thanks for being here on C2C. We're back in just a few minutes. The Elite Draft League would like to thank the following sponsors for their support of the inaugural 2024 EDL season. Hot Hockey, Biscuit Balm, the North American Roller Hockey Championships, the Roller Hockey Alliance, and Dangle Dojo. All right, almost time to put this episode in the fridge on this Sunday afternoon so Gabe can get to his men's league game later in the evening. Again, folks, here at Puck and Roll Podcast. Yes, Puck and Roll Podcast is winding down here on this Sunday afternoon on another scorcher here in Southern California and in San Diego. Callan and McClurg alongside Gabe John as we, again, have recapped our first official week of gameplay here for the Elite Draft League in San Diego on this Sunday afternoon. And again, Gabe, as we said, though, as we kind of, again, man, get ready to wrap things up here in a bit. Again, I really want to give a lot of the, all these players so much love again, man, because we were making our rounds on Saturday, and the amount of positive remarks and commentary that we had from these players about our first episode, we basically had nothing to really roll on except, your content from the names and branding, the rosters, everything about the league structure, why it, why Josh, got the idea. Like, we didn't have a lot of, game commentary to work with, man. But just hearing it from the horse's mouth, though, from every team in some capacity when they first got to the rink, during the course of gameplay, in between games, after the game, the amount of praise, the amount of, of love and respect, I would even say, that has already been shown, and for yourself, though, being more in tune with the roller community and the hockey community more than just myself, because I just mainly announce the sport. I don't really play like I used to. But I think, though, Gabe, at least after the first week, though, and even after the first episode, and now that we've gotten this, the league off the ground, now the pod's off the ground, maybe where's your sentiment at about how these guys have really already gravitated to this particular program already, just literally now in our second episode of Puck and Roll?
Well, we went from having no live comments in the first pod to having a full one, this one. So that's huge.
Moving on up, baby.
Moving on up. So love to see that getting in. But yeah, but all jokes aside, like, honestly, it's so rewarding to serve in general. Like, many people say that it just feels good to be of service. And when you're able to add that and combine it with serving the community that you hold most dear to you, and you're rallying around the hobby, the sport that you love most in this world, like, it's a really positive and powerful feeling. And I think that's what a lot of us are feeling, is just general beings. Like, we crave connection, we crave community, and this just doesn't feel forced at all, because we're building this upwelling and this moving together around something that we really do share a common love for. So it feels right, it feels natural, and I think the boys are really buying into that and feeding off of it. So we're seeing nice reciprocity, and it's going to be easy to continue going as long as that positivity is fueling us, which I think it will be, based off the level of commitment and the amount of love that they have for the game and the community as a whole. So really great stuff.
Absolutely. Again, just really, it was really not really mind-boggling, but very eye-opening, I would say, to see, right away how these guys have gravitated after the first, now first two shows of Puck and Roll to, just, giving their love and their respect, to what we are trying to build. And I think that they also realize, though, with this being a whole new product, of where things stand. I also, as well, though, Gabe, want to shout out Steve Reyes, who came all the way down from, Orange County or LA from R&R Productions, and for, I believe, for Hockey Night Insider. And Steve, brought all of his heavy duty equipment on Saturday, And, I think he got some great footage that he'll be pumping out on his social platforms, that we'll be pumping out too on our social platforms. And I think, Gabe, what I guess kind of like in a way, and we know that as well, that both R&R and also H&I are both proud sponsors of our league, though. But, that really got me fired up, though, about, as we have kind of said, though, I hate to kind of be the broken record, but again, about how serious everyone involved in this league wants to make, is taking this project, basically. And I think, though, so much respect, though, for Steve, who came out. He, his content was really well done, of his reel that he pumped out. And, he gave you some pretty badass technology, though, too, for those post-game interviews as well. And you were having a field day with it. I think you actually may have bought his gear already, or bought what he already had, or bought what he gave you to work with yesterday. More than likely, it sure sounds like.
Yeah, we're gonna have to continue with all that high tech stuff. Absolutely. So you can't scrimp now that it's, we're in motion.
Can't do it.
Yeah, can't do it. But yeah, the level of commitment, again, from both sides, from the players as well as from the the behind the scenes, from Steven Reyes, also Commissioner Fontaine. Like, we've got a group here that is, again, I just keep using this word committed, but we've got a strong group who clearly, once they commit to something, are not going to half-ass it. So we've got strong momentum. We've got strong buy-in on both sides of the playership here, and we want to see this succeed. And we know from playing roller hockey that it's something that to build the sport is going to really take boots on the ground, roll up your sleeves kind of mentality. Because we do it for the love, we do it for the love of the game. It's not a high profit sport at this time, but if we could, just keep on this rising momentum, I think that anyone can attest. Anyone who's played roller hockey knows what a special game it is, and it deserves greater spotlight. It deserves a greater platform, and so it's great to be able to fill that need. And we've got the commitment and the momentum to make something really special here.
Yeah, and again, major shout out to Steven Reyes, and our freelance photographer, who also came out. I believe Woo Park was his name, I believe, who also came out, and he got the photos of Gabe and Josh and myself with the players after the ceremonial puck drops were done. And he got some really good and great photo footage too, as well, from the penalty box area on Saturday as well. And again, more than anything else, again, now, Gabe, we go from week 1. Now we go to week 2, man. Coming up this upcoming Saturday, 2 more games on the schedule at 7 and 8 p.m. Opening up play will be Temecula and Del Mar, the 0-1 Vipers, 1-0 Bandits, and then it will be the 1-0 Surfers and the 0-1 Ospreys. So now, Gabe, week 2 now means you've had a week now to play, learn teammates' names. I'm sure, obviously, that's, kind of stupid, honestly, but now, though, you've had a week now to get chemistry, is what I'm kind of hinting at here. You've had a chance now to see, strengths, weaknesses, who plays well with who. So, Gabe, going into week 2 now, where do you think things stand right now in your mind? Where are the 4 teams in your mind right now after getting this, first game out of the way, of like filling out teams, knowing each other's style of play, and now having that cohesion and that chemistry now after the first week of the season?
I think that there are a couple of teams that already had greater familiarity because of their long-standing history playing with one another. As Colton alluded to in his post-game interview, he's been playing with Baldwin since he was knee-high. So there was definitely already some baked-in chemistry there. And I think it'll take a little bit more time still for some of the other squads, the Vipers, to dial in their cohesion so that they can make sure that their snipers continue to snipe. So I think it'll take some more time, but I think we've seen enough to know, where there's a very speed-oriented team versus a team that's going to be a little bit more control-oriented. We know who the shooters are versus who the stud defensemen are. So some things have definitely shaken out, but we're still going to need a little bit more time to build that cohesion from one week to the next. It's not going to all happen in one game, but I do expect the cohesion to continue to develop and for the teams to settle into their gameplay and get more comfortable with each other as the weeks roll on.
So once again, folks, coming up on Saturday, June 29th, our next batch of games, Temecula and Del Mar at 7 p.m. North County and Mission Bay will close out week 2 at 8 p.m. And, you know, Gabe, I do have to say, though, man, I know that we were maybe a little bit behind schedule because I was kind of running around getting some player name pronunciations, though. But even then, though, even though if we may have started like at 7:15, dude, games felt like clockwork. Like we were through game 1. We got into warmups for game 2, got through the ceremonial puck drop for game 2. I mean, we were done with gameplay by like at least 9 o'clock on Saturday night.
Yeah. Things were for the most part pretty smooth, and it also helps when there aren't that many penalties. But real quick shout out to Noe Santos, who up there with EDL records, gets the first
ever penalty.
Yeah, the first penalty served in San Diego Elite Draft League history. So shout out to Noe. But honestly, Noe was a stud out there for the Ospreys. He was man. Assist. He was flying. So, but yeah, just wanted to slip that in. Another record for those winter bookkeepings. Everything went pretty smoothly. The scorekeeper also very dialed in. Making sure
shout out Desiree, job well done.
Excellent. Big snaps for Desiree. Things went smooth. Everything was a success. There were obviously some things that we can polish, and that gives us some fun, exciting work behind the scenes in the weeks ahead. But ultimately, great kickoff and a successful first night for sure.
Yes, I can promise you that the in-game entertainment will be a little bit louder. I know that we had, not really complaints, but definitely some concerns. Again, we were kind of working with 2 microphones. We were working off of my computer. We were working off of Bluetooth technology. So all that is going to be improved as we improve with our content here, and we improve throughout the season. That will also improve. And also one more shout out to our fearless leader and our commissioner, Josh Fontaine, who went to great lengths, Gabe, over the course of Saturday to get the perfect vantage point for not just the GoPro highlights we had, man, but the live stream, though, on IG. I believe he said that we raked in over 70 people watching the 2 games. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, he was constantly moving, from the upper beam of the bench area to the basketball hoops in the corner. Like, Josh really went out of his way, man, to give, some people who couldn't be physically at the game to watch. And 75 people tuned in to watch both games, which was really amazing.
Yeah, Commissioner Fontaine, he's an integral part of this. Absolutely. Might not be a face on the pod right now, but his
eventually
presence is surely felt both here at the rink and behind the scenes. So can't thank him enough for the momentum he's really helped catalyze in a lot of ways for this project we've got. So big snaps for Commissioner Fontaine.
And if anyone is curious, by the way, there's no admission, so please feel free to come on by Kit Carson Park or the Escondido Sports Center. Come on in, grab a seat in the bleachers. It's first come, first serve. I mean, we're not charging anything for anyone to come watch. But again, we had a great turnout, as we alluded to earlier in the pod, though, of against some of the young guys who can't play in the league just yet, though. But they came out and supported. Again, family, friends, coworkers, you name it. Please, folks, come on out and support the local hockey community in San Diego. Again, we're playing Saturday nights, 7 and 8 p.m. at Kit Carson Park, the Escondido Sports Center. Again, our next 2 games are coming up this Saturday. So, again, make those plans now and come join us. And, again, free admission. Come on in. Bring your own food. Have a good old time. And, again, just help support a brand new league that, as I've been saying, that you as a hockey fan in this town of San Diego, you should be supporting and you should be behind, because this is something that we should all, a part of this community of hockey, we can all be proud of what we have built here already after 1 week. With that, Gabe, any final thoughts you'd like to pass along before we send you off on your way to your game this evening at Kit Carson?
It's honestly, it's an easy sport to love. So as Colin said, come on down. We welcome all. And you won't be disappointed. It is super casual, super competitive, and super fun. So come on down. We'll all have a good time.
Yeah, come on out for a good time, and also, as you folks have seen across our ticker tape, again, please support our sponsors. Again, we got through all of their reads in some fashion on Saturday. So again, if you are a hockey nut out there or a new to the sport in general, again, support our partners and support our podcast. Again, they have put so much time and effort into making this league what it is. With that, folks, we'll see you back here again for episode 3 on Friday. We're still in that 7 o'clock p.m. time slot on Fridays. We'll be here around 4, maybe 3 o'clock on Sundays as well. But again, a major thanks to Bryce, again, our goalie from the North County Surfers, for dropping by this afternoon. And thanks to we maxed out Gabe at 9 viewers today. So we have definitely gone a bit on the up and up here after one show.
Gosh, on the up and up. Love to see that. Love it for us. Love it for the boys.
Love it for everybody. With that, folks, again, for Gabe, John, and the entire EDL front office staff, yours truly, Callan McClurg, saying good day here from San Diego. We're back at it for episode 3 on Friday to preview week 2's games back here on C2C and on the Puck and Roll podcast, folks. Till next time, have a great week. Till Friday. Goodbye. The Elite Draft League would once again like to thank the following sponsors for their unwavering support of the inaugural 2024 EDL season. Craft Coast Brewery and Taco Stand. Play It Again Sports, Scripps Mira Mesa. The Answer's Yes. Roller Dad News. The Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. Hockey Night Insider. R&R Productions. Wild Dog Marketing. H3 Hockey. Biscuit Balm. The North American Roller Hockey Championships. The Roller Hockey Alliance. And Dangle Dojo. The Coast to Coast Entertainment Network would like to thank their proud sponsors for their support of C2C programming. Beside Me Bracelets. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. Reaper Apparel Company. And Good Day Embroidery.